The presidential elections are at our doorstep, and we pretty much know most of Donald Trump's story. Come on, we hear his name at least once a day. But do you really know who the Democratic candidate is? Yeah, you know it's Joe Biden, but do you really know who he is? Let's find out why he was named the second poorest member of Congress in 2008, and why he is called Amtrak Joe. This is Joe Biden.
Who? Who the is Joe Biden again?
Joseph Robinette Biden, and yes, that's his real name, was born on November 20th, 1942 in Scranton, Pennsylvania, to parents Joseph Biden Sr. and Catherine Eugenia Finnegan, also known as Jean. Joe is also the oldest of 4 siblings, a sister and 2 brothers. His father worked as a home furnace cleaner and a used car salesman, and that's why Joe is always fighting for the, quote, little guy, as he calls it, since he comes from a hard-working, blue-collar family. Joe and his family moved to Mayfield, Delaware, when he was 13 years old, and he eventually got into the school of his dreams, Archmere Academy. Joe had to work cleaning the windows and weeding the gardens just to help his parents pay the tuition. Although he was never good at school, everyone was impressed by his toughness, hard work, and perseverance, something he always accredited his parents for. During these years, and for many years after, Joe suffered from bullying at school. Kids would call him Dash, or Joe Impedimenta, because he struggled with a speech stutter. In a demonstration of strong will and character, he decided to recite poems in front of the mirror to help his stutter. He eventually stopped stuttering, overcoming this tremendous obstacle. In 1961, he graduated and went to the University of Delaware, where he double majored in history and political science. Although Joe later admitted that during his first 2 years of college, he was more interested in playing football, partying, and conquering the chicas than academics. One year, during a spring break trip to the Bahamas, he met Neela Hunter, a student from Syracuse University Law School, and she sure conquered his heart all right. He studied even harder so that he can get accepted into the same law school as Neela, something he achieved after his graduation from Delaware University in 1965, and the duo got married a year after. We already know that Joe wasn't a great student, but law school posed an even tougher challenge for Joe, and he continued his mediocre performance until graduating in 1968. Joe didn't allow his bad performance to dictate his future though. Later that year, he decided to move to Wilmington, Delaware, and began practicing in a law firm, and would go on to become an active member of the Democratic Party. The next year, he and his wife welcomed their first child, Joseph Biden III, better known as Beau Biden. Then, in 1970, Hunter Biden was born. That same year, he was elected to the Newcastle County Council, and in 1971, he started his own law firm, and his third child, Naomi Biden, was born. In 1972, at only 29 years old, he is pushed by the Democratic Party to run against J. Caleb Boggs for senator. He reluctantly accepts, and his humble campaign consists primarily in talking to people and communities face to face, while everything is mostly organized by family members, such as his sister Valerie Biden Owens, who was his campaign manager, and his parents who campaigned daily on his behalf. And against all odds, he won the election and became the 5th youngest senator of the United States of America that year. He was on top of the world, and everything was going great in his life. But what he didn't know was that his life would soon be turned upside down. That same year, and only a week before Christmas, Joe's wife and his 3 children were involved in a terrible car accident while out shopping for a Christmas tree. The accident took the lives of his wife and daughter, and both his sons were severely injured. After this horrible tragedy, he wanted to quit his job as a public servant. Understandably, he was very depressed, and later confessed that suicide was a constant thought in his mind. It was immensely difficult and painful for him to get back on his feet, but with the support and love of his family, he decided to honor his commitment to represent the people of Delaware in the Senate. But he decided to stay in Delaware, close to his sons, and commute to and from Washington, D.C. each day by Amtrak train, something he continued to do his entire career in the Senate, winning him the nickname Amtrak Joe. Joe remarried in 1977 to Jill Biden and had a daughter in 1981, Ashley, who was named by her older brothers. Joe did his best to rebuild his life brick by brick. He was re-elected 6 times, serving in the Senate from 1973 to 2009. During all these years, he became well known because of his foreign policies as the chairman of the Committee of Foreign Relations, a position he had for several years. His position included advocating for strategic arms limitations with the former Soviet Union, promoting peace in the Yugoslavian War. He even spoke out against President George W. Bush and the way he was handling the Iraq War. He was also known as an outspoken proponent of tougher crime laws. And guess what? Regardless of being kind of a sucker in school, he became a professor at the Wilmington, Delaware branch of the Widener University School of Law from 1991 to 2008. But with all that success, Joe Biden has had a little itch that he can't get rid of. The itch of becoming the President of the United States. The itch started back in 1987 when Joe decided to run for president for the first time, but he dropped out of the running almost immediately because of the reports that surfaced stating that he had plagiarized part of a British political speech. It took him another 20 years to decide to run again in 2007, but once again, he dropped out after Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton dominated the Democratic field. Several months later, Obama selected him to run as his vice president, and in November 2nd, 2008, they won the election, making Joe the 47th vice president of the United States. During the 8 years of his vice presidency, Joe mostly served in the role as a behind-the-scenes advisor to President Obama. He did, however, take a particularly active role in formulating federal policies relating to the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. He also used his well-established Senate connections to help secure passage of the new Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty between the United States and Russia. He would go on to become a leading figure in the national debate about gun control, among other things. On May 30th, 2015, Joe's life took another crashing turn as his son Beau Biden died at age 46 after his long and tormented battle with brain cancer. Because of this tragedy, Joe decided to postpone his plans to run for presidency in 2016, although he did keep his promise of being outspoken in regards to the Trump administration. No one was surprised when he announced on April 25th, 2019 that he was going to run for president in 2020. He has had a very problematic campaign. He has had to face several accusations of sexual misconduct, as well as Donald Trump allegedly pressuring the Ukrainian government to investigate Joe and his son Hunter because of Hunter's former involvement with a Ukrainian energy company, Burma Holdings. This leads to Joe referring to this as an abuse of power and his support of Trump's impeachment led by Nancy Pelosi, which, as we know, failed. He chose Kamala Harris on August 11, 2020 to be his vice president, an attorney general who worked closely with Beau Biden, making her the first African-American woman to appear on a major party's national ticket. The proud owner of the Presidential Medal of Freedom has proven to the world time and time again of his resilience, showing that beyond a doubt, he learned the lesson his father engraved in him. The measure of a man is not how often he is knocked down, but how quickly he gets up. Joe Biden has shown us how working hard and never giving up will take you anywhere you want in life. You will be surprised to hear that he has a lot in common with Trump. Robert Trump, that is.
Who?
You know, Donald Trump's brother, Robert Trump.
Robert Trump? Who the is Robert Trump again?